Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Amateur Sports, or the Jacob Gramegna channel, as I guess it's named these days, for today's Raptors Happy Hour live stream. We are here for December 5th, Friday. Happy Friday, everybody. As we know, Friday is the best happy hour, and hopefully we give you a really good happy hour live stream today. We're going to be talking Raptors, as we normally do, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. If you do enjoy what you see today, as a reminder, make sure you do hit that like button and get subscribed to the channel, support the show, and you get all this content 3 times a week for this show. We get watch alongs for most Raptors games, lots of great stuff. Unfortunately, not live tonight for the Raptors game against the Hornets. I have a couple of friends celebrating a birthday. Got some plans there, but I'm happy to be here today. What we got on tap for you guys today, we're going to talk about the loss against the Los Angeles Lakers, an unfortunate loss where you can always find an excuse why a team loses a game, but sometimes in a close game, one team gets the last shot and you don't have a chance to follow it up. Raptors defended the play pretty well. They got a good look on offense on the possession before to potentially win the game. They started slow. I think ultimately what cost them is they started a little bit too slow in that game. But sometimes you just lose. Sometimes one team has to lose. And in this case, it was the Raptors. We're going to start with that. The main focus of today's stream, though, we're going to be talking a lot about Giannis Antetokounmpo and the potential for the Raptors to land the player in a trade. Yes, everything goes in cycles. We're back on this cycle. The potential of Giannis ending up with the Raptors. I remember... I think in like 2020 must have been the first time this was a topic on the channel. And at the time, I was a lot less of a seasoned content creator, a lot less seasoned and accustomed, I guess, to your very not like basic. I'm trying to look for the right word here, but the very like surface level analysis, I guess, the surface level analysis of it, where at the time it was like, well, Toronto has a really good Greek population and Greek town, and Masai Ujiri was a big factor in Giannis's upbringing. Masai Ujiri factor, all of that has become like, it's not that it's nothing. I mean, Masai isn't even here anymore. It's not that it was nothing, but it definitely got quite a little bit overrated. And he stayed with the Bucks ever since. But it really does look like this time he actually is going to get traded. So we'll see what the Raptors can do in order to get him, and if they are going to be, if they actually have a chance to be in the mix to get him. I think that is the big thing that we're going to be looking at. On top of that, I'll be answering questions from the chat, listening to you, seeing what you have to say, getting your thoughts on anything from the discussion. And then to finish off the show today, we are going to be talking about the recent first-round pick by the Raptors. We're going to revisit the decision to draft Colin Murray-Boyles, specifically over Kamen Maluach, because Colin Murray-Boyles was certainly not my pick for number 9. There was quite a few players higher on my list, Maluach being one of them. I thought they would go Maluach there, and especially considering the Raptors, I mean, very clearly we're missing a backup center. There was an opportunity in the draft to get said backup center in Kamen Maluach. But Murray-Boyles is impressed. Did the Raptors make the right decision by going with him on draft night? Again, these are all the things that we are going to consider and discuss over the stream today. Thank you to Adam for joining us in the chat. I appreciate that. Let me know if you're out here in the chat. Let me know what you have to say. But let's dig into this a little bit. Let's dig into this show a little bit more. So, first up, the game yesterday. I stuck around a little bit after the game. It was disappointing. Just the way in which the play developed. Austin Reeves had absolutely cooked us all night. It was kind of, I don't know about you guys. Maybe I'm not as focused on like the Lakers side of things. It kind of came out. It kind of shocked me when I saw that he had 40 points. Like midway through the fourth, if you told me he had like 35, 30, 33, 35, I'd be like, okay, Yeah, that makes sense. But when I looked at me at 42, I was like, whoa, like he's dropped 40 on us. That was a bit crazy. So, hey, shout out to him. He had a great night. I think the biggest story that will come out of this game, because in the end, it would be it'd be a cool game because I guess like it was a buzzer beater. This game's etched in history. This game truly is etched in the history of the NBA. LeBron's, I just don't see how that record is ever going to be broken. 1,200, I think it's 1,297 straight games scoring 10 points or more. I don't see how it's even possible. Obviously, it's possible. Like, there's no 0% chance in sports, but I don't see how it's possible for that record to ever be broken. 1,297 straight games with 10 plus points. And there were some scares at the start of this season. Like, it's not like this was out of nowhere, but still. This is the game that ended that 10 plus point streak for LeBron. And again, I just don't know how a player, the achievement for any player even playing in the league that long is incredible. Like, even at just like a very end of rotation, like even like an Udonis Haslem. Like, the achievement of Udonis Haslem to have even existed in the NBA for as long as he did is so extraordinarily impressive. So for a player, every time they touch the floor to get 10 plus points, like to never be at the end of the bench at that point in your career where you're not getting enough minutes yet, is extraordinary. This will be the game that ended that. It would have been much nicer if the Raptors were able to end that and also win the game, but sadly not able to do that here. LeBron, and people say, and I know a lot of people said, like when LeBron has done it his whole career. He is going to pass up the game-winning shot to get the better shot for his team. And he has done that his whole career. He's been criticized that for his whole career. And people give him, and there should be a bit of respect given to him for passing up that shot and sacrificing potentially the streak, which he ended up doing. Sure, give him credit for that. I agree, there's credit there, and he respects his teammates enough to do that. But also, like, it's not like he didn't take 17 fucking shots, okay? He took 17 shots. He was ice cold all game. He went 4 of 17. He was 0 of 5 from 3, and he was, like, horrendous from 3. Like, horrendous from 3. They weren't even close to going in. They were way off. Didn't get fouled once. Was hunting fouls all night. Was hunting shots all night. He just had an awful game. I know he had 11 assists, but it seriously, it was an awful game from him. Hachimura is the hero. The game-winning 3 finishes with 12 points. Again, a little bit tough there. As for the Raptors, Brandon Ingram, 10 of 23, 20 points. Had a rough night from 3, 0 of 6, but solid. I mean, 27-7 is nothing to sneeze at. It's a pretty good game. Barnes, excellent once again. 1 assist away from a triple-double. Mamu, lower efficiency, but I still thought he played relatively well. He needs to sharpen up his finishing on the inside, to be honest. Dunk the ball maybe a little bit more sometimes. If he dunked that one play where there was a question of goaltending, the Raptors might win this game. But, again, tough one there. He hasn't missed a game or had a game for rest yet. Oh, we're talking about, yeah, it should have been LeBron. LeBron has certainly missed some games. Sorry to talk about LeBron. I'll get to the chat in just a second here, guys. But Battle played well off the bench. The bench was kind of the part that was keeping us in this game. The Raptors starters mostly had struggles and had to fight back to get into this game. But in the end, unfortunate loss. Like, relatively even. They had a few extra possessions off of turnovers. And they made 44 shots. We made 44 shots. They hit 5 extra free throws. We hit 2 extra threes. Like, it was just a super tight game. And in the end, sometimes you just lose that game. And it's unfortunate, but sometimes you do just end up losing a game like that. Tough. People have looked at these games like, well, it's two measuring stick performances. You played the Knicks and you played the Lakers. Not wrong, but, the Knicks game, second night of the back-to-back, second night away from home in a row. First night of the back-to-back, you had an overtime game. Second night of the back-to-back, you didn't have Pirtle. Felt like the Raptors would lose that game. The Lakers game here, again, no Pirtle. Kind of sucks. You gave him a big contract, and because of his back, you can't play him in back-to-back games right now. That is definitely not enjoyable. But I don't know. I'm not like super concerned about this run. Couple games in a couple tough spots. Win tonight. Put it all back together. If they lose tonight, then we could probably start to think, okay, like what's going on right now. RJ Barrett's out as well, missing a lot of offense there. The offense has struggled up until this point. They had struggled. They're getting better, but they had struggled without him. Anyways, let's dig into the chat a little bit. We've got some questions and comments coming in. Freakzilla says, I have no problem with the loss last night. So many positive, including Scotty's play on defense and ending the streak. There are positives, yet. It wasn't like... It wasn't crazy. It wasn't like ridiculously... It wasn't like a bad performance or anything. The first 18 minutes were pretty rough, but overall, I thought it was a good performance. I am Satido says Reeves has been going off this year. Yeah, he's definitely firmly in the mix for most improved player award this season. And without Luka, he was absolutely balling for sure. First time in my entire life that LeBron hasn't scored 10 in a game. So I think you said you were 18. I was 7. I am set though. Oh, see, the capitalization of the team makes it complicated. Anyways, that's why the handles are horrible for the chat on YouTube. Why not make it somebody's display name? YouTube. Anyways, dumb. Anyways, I was 7 the last time LeBron didn't score 10 in a game. That is crazy. Big shout outs to our 2-year member in chat right now, 905 Yada, one of the GOATs. Maybe the GOAT of the chat. Thank you for joining us, Yada, today. Brandon Ingram getting a ton of hate recently in the Raptors Twitter community. It's all vultures, man. It's all, like, so much of the community is just vultures. I try to steer the masses away from that sort of mindset, but yeah, it would be awesome if Brandon Ingram scored 30 a night and did it super efficiently every night. But 27-7. He missed some threes. Yeah, it wasn't his best game, but like he also had 27-7, and it wasn't even that inefficient. He was 10 of 23. It just feels like after a Raptors loss, people are just hunting things to get upset about, where sometimes there just isn't a lot that you should really be that pressed about. That's just how I feel about it. Freakzilla says, B.I. getting hate is silly. Love the fact he has played 21 of 21 games this year, considering he played 18 all last year. Yeah. He's been available. He's been getting heavier minutes lately. He's played well this year. He's a really good player. I don't understand the distaste for him. Like, it's bad. Too much spending. Yeah, all right. I got it. Next time I remember, I am set, though. How many minutes per game? He's playing 34 minutes a game this season. It's not even like low minutes. Like he's getting minutes this season to go with it. Sorry, his nickname. Oh, his nickname, Slenderman. Slenderman. I think that's more Kevin Durant. Who's got that? No. Slim Reaper. Okay, that's it. Durantula. I don't think I've ever heard. I know, like it's the common joke that the nicknames are never used. Slim Reaper, yes. Easy Money Sniper, of course. I've never heard the Servant. I've never heard the Green Room. I've never ever heard Durantula. Slenderman, maybe I've heard for Ingram. Tiny Dog, I have never ever heard. Humble Beast, I have never heard. And Kingram, I have never heard. Duranto's definitely thinking, okay, maybe I misremember. I do not recall that. But anyways, what I did want to look at, he is 34 minutes per game this season. His true shooting's probably coming down. Yeah, it's down to 55.6. More in line with his career, but also he hasn't been playing that well as of late. I thought AJ Lawson was supposed to be in the game. You thought wrong. I don't know what else to tell you. You thought wrong. I don't think AJ Lawson was supposed to be in any NBA game. Our bench has been okay. It's not like we got to dig deeper and find something. We've been decent with our bench. I don't think AJ Lawson is the answer there. So yeah, again, just for me, sometimes you play a good team and lose. The Lakers, Austin Reeves had a big game. Raptors missing their center. They felt it. They lost the game. That's what happens. Sometimes that's just what happens. And go to bed, you wake up a new day, try to win that game. And that's what the Raptors are going to be looking to do tonight. Second night back-to-back against the Hornets. They should be at home favored. Second night back-to-back. They should be favored by, I was going to say 6 to 7. I would guess that is actually what they're favored by. And yes, they are favored by 6.5, 7. They should win. They should win. That was how much, by the way, the Knicks were favored by. Again, they're favored by, I think, 7.5 against us. If you're curious about that. But anyways, guys, enough on that game. Let's get into the main focus of the stream today, because it is the big news. You know, I said it right at the top of the stream, but I feel like this saga has been going on for years and years and years. I remember talking about it on this channel back in like 2020. 5 years ago, I think, was the first time we talked about this. And it's always felt like there's a chance. Maybe we can do it. Maybe this can happen. Maybe we can get it done. I don't know. But then in the end, it felt like, man, we were so far away. Why did we ever think that? But I think this time is actually different. And I think this time, Giannis is actually going to get traded away from the Milwaukee Bucks. So let's see what the Raptors can offer to get Giannis Antetokounmpo, if it's enough to get him, and if it is enough, if the Raptors should actually do it. And while we're doing this, I want you guys to let me know what you guys think. Would you want to go for Giannis? Because for me, this is a top 5 player in the NBA. You can make a case this is a top 3 player in the NBA. Not 2 or 1. Can't make a case there. But you can make a case this is a top 3 player in the NBA. At the least, he's a top 5 player. Perennial top 5 player in MVP voting. This is a guy you go out for, especially in a season where you might feel like the East is a little bit open, and especially in a season where the East is a little bit more open, and right now you are cooking as one of the now top 3 seeds in the East. Raptors currently sit as the 3 seed. Still like a very congested Eastern Conference. Like they're only 1.5 games. So they're only 2 games up on the 9 seed Atlanta Hawks. So a very congested Eastern Conference, but this feels like a good season to make a move like that. And the Raptors have some assets that can get this done. So let's investigate this one a little bit further. So this all kind of started when Giannis started deleting a lot of posts off of I saw more so his Instagram account. He deleted basically every post associated with the Milwaukee Bucks other than the championship photo, and there was one other one. And usually when I see stuff like that, I think, all right, it's people fishing for a story. But then more and more kind of started coming out of this one. And eventually we got the Shams Charania tweet that Giannis and his agent have started conversation with the Bucks about his future, discussing whether his best fit is staying or elsewhere. Because the Bucks started the season actually decently, putting up some wins, doing, feeling like they could maybe compete a little bit in the Eastern Conference, especially, I keep saying it, but it felt like a bit more of a depleted Eastern Conference. But since that point, the Bucks have absolutely been racking up losses. I think there was a stretch of games where they had lost 7 in a row. We'll try and find it. We'll try and find it here. They lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They lost 7 in a row. Busted the slump against the Nets, but then lost to the freaking Wizards. Then they beat the Pistons, which is weird set of circumstances. But they lost 7 in a row, and also then 2 games later lost to the Wizards. So clearly something is wrong there. I mean, we kind of saw it coming into the season. They made a very large push last year by acquiring Damian Lillard. They sacrificed a lot of depth. Last season, the team's strategy was, please, Dame and Giannis score enough for us to win, and hopefully we get enough filler elsewhere. That's kind of what the situation was there for the Milwaukee Bucks. And then Dame gets injured. And then they buy out Dame. And they don't have the money to supplement talent for Giannis. And they sign Miles Turner, who is not nearly enough help for Giannis. So now the Bucks are in that tough spot. Giannis not getting any younger. You know, this is the age 31 season. He wants to make something happen. And perhaps the best way to do that is to make a trade. It might be the best even thing for the organization. Like, they don't have any money to build around him. Maybe it's best just to recoup a ton of assets. You know, step back and say, you know what? In this Giannis era, we won a championship for the first time. And I think the last time was in like the 70s. Sorry if I'm wrong. But first time they'd won a championship since like the 70s. Maybe they kind of step back and say, you know what? It was worth it. Let's recoup some assets. Let's start fresh now. It could be the best situation for both teams. And the contract, Giannis maybe wants to make an attack somewhere while he's on this contract. He's making $54 million this year, almost $58 to $59 million the next season. And then he's a player option in 27-28 worth about $63 million. Not cheap, but worth it for a player of his ability who has still, like, even with age, as you saw, maybe athleticism would start to fade a little bit. He still is a truly sensational player. He's averaged in the last few seasons 30 points, 30 points, 31 points, 30 points, 29, 29 and a half. He's been, in the last 7 seasons, an MVP twice. And then the other 5 seasons, he's been top 4 in MVP voting. He's been top 7 in MVP voting the last 9 years. He has been All-NBA first team the last 7 years. And he was All-NBA second team the 2 years before that. This is one of the very best players in the NBA potentially becoming available for trade. That does not happen ever. Ever. And even with the rumors of like a potential that Giannis could ask for a trade, apparently, according to Brian Windhorst of ESPN, who I continually cite as being a source who, this is like one of the most trustworthy sources out there. Windy does not give a shit about clout from spreading rumors. In fact, you could argue he likes the opposite. He doesn't want to be mentioned like this. He just reports the NBA as the news comes to him. And he said that apparently he's already asked to be traded. And the story just hasn't broken out completely like that yet. So it feels like this could be the very first time Giannis is actually seriously on the trade block. So with that $54 million contract in mind for this season, what would the Raptors have to do in order to get him? Let's dig into the trade machine. So from a Raptors perspective, it has to be RJ. So let's start it from a Bucks perspective. They're going to want Scotty Barnes. I think immediately the Raptors say no. In the summer, I might have been more willing to trade Scotty. I probably would have still felt like I'm not so sure don't really want to trade him, but I maybe could have been convinced. The way he's played this season, he's really looking like the guy you're going to build around. Obviously, Giannis changes that, but I don't think it's worth sacrificing Scottie to do this. You want to bring in Giannis to be a contender. To be a contender, you need the likes of Barnes and Ingram on your team. So you want to bring in Giannis to play with Barnes and Ingram. The trade from a Raptors perspective, starts with RJ Barrett. It just has to. Financially speaking, it has to be. And then I think the same goes for Emmanuel Quickley. You need to get up to that $54 million number, and I think the way to do that is going for Emmanuel Quickley. Those two players are probably the ones in this trade. You need to take away. Sorry, I didn't even add. Oops, I need to add Giannis. Add Giannis. I think this works. Yeah, this works. Now you need to decide the picks. You could argue, okay, what if you go Barrett and Pirtle? Just feels kind of difficult to do. We need to adjust the salaries a little bit more. I think if you're going to use Giannis, I think you profit a lot more having a guy like Pirtle. You know of Giannis' best days in the Bucks. He's got a rim-protecting player like Brook Lopez next to him. Giannis is best served as a 4 on defense, a help defense 4, rather than playing as that pure rim protector. And sure, there's like other players who can play big roles for the Raptors. I think having that big is important. I'm more willing to sacrifice the guard play than the rim protection play and the defense there in this trade. So I'm going to go with Emmanuel Quickley. I think Emmanuel Quickley is more enticing for the Bucks as well. As far as the picks go, if you're not going to put in Scottie Barnes, I mean, you just simply have to do 4 first-round picks. No other way to spin this conversation. It has to be 4 first-round picks. So we're going to give them all the first-round picks up until 2032. Then probably going to be 2 swaps. I don't know if you can do... Okay, we can do swaps. So 2027, we'll do a swap. Other team has the right to swap, and then we'll do the other team has the right to swap in 2029. We'll do 4 picks, 2 swaps. Send that their way. To me, that is the offer you got to send. That is the offer. Like, if I'm the Raptors, I'm sending that the way of the Bucks. And I'm going to see if in the Giannis auction, first of all, if Giannis wants to go to the Raptors, maybe they take that sort of deal. But I'm going to see if that's the highest bid in the auction. I'll concede. There might be a better offer available from the Knicks. Could be maybe one coming in from the Heat. There could be better ones out there. For me, that is the offer you got to send. That is the offer where I'm stepping back and saying, let's see if they take it. I'm not sure the Bucks take it. I'll be honest, I'm not sure the Bucks take it. RJ is viewed as undesirable salary. It's kind of clear that's how he's treated in the NBA universe. I mean, whether you agree or not, that's his perception in the NBA based on the evidence we have. Emmanuel Quickley might be perceived that way. And I don't know if 4 picks basically on their own is getting that trade done. I think they really got to get like a really good young player in this to trade Giannis. This is Giannis after all. That's the offer I send the way. I think the Bucks have to certainly have a conversation about it. I'm not sure they go and take that. In this hypothetical, if they would do that from a Raptors perspective, look, I understand it. You're going to be missing a lot of point guard play there. I'm okay Giannis taking on the RJ Barrett role. RJ Barrett slashing a lot, still getting a ton of touches. I'm cool with that. And I think there's enough talent that even though Giannis isn't a terrific fit with Barnes and Ingram, we can make it work. Like hell, RJ Barrett's not a great fit with Barnes and Ingram. We're making that work when he's healthy. So I think Giannis is a humongous upgrade to the roster. You do miss on a lot of guard play. You probably have to elevate Shed there, which is not like I like Shed. I don't think that's a super ideal point guard for this team. Maybe you look to get a point guard elsewhere somewhere. I'm not sure. I'm willing to take the risk. I'm willing to figure it out later in order to get a player of this caliber, of this stature to get it done. But it could be a simple one. I mean, there could be like a Bucks content creator going right now. Unless they offer Scottie, the answer is no. Like, Scottie has to be the starting point, or this trade isn't happening. So can the Raptors do this trade? I think this is an offer that gets a conversation started. If this is a yes from the Bucks, this is a yes from me, and I think I'm quite sure it would be a yes from the Raptors. I just, at this point, I don't think it's a yes from the Bucks. So I think it's possible, but still doesn't feel like the Raptors can do it. I mean, they can do it. The easy way to do it, they offer Scotty, they can have Giannis. If they offer Scotty, I think they have Giannis tomorrow. I feel like that's how the conversation would go. But I don't think you can go that far and offer Scotty Barnes in this one here. What do we think in the chat? Freakzilla says the cost of Giannis would be Scotty. If you're willing to do that, you have the conversation. Any other offer would get beaten by the Spurs, Hawks, Magic, Thunder, Detroit, or Houston. And that's fair enough. That's fair enough. Giannis had to be a 3-team deal. Maybe to get a point guard. Maybe that's kind of the right way to do it. That's a good point from Tycoon in the chat. Freakzilla says, Bucks say no if you start with RJ. We love RJ here, but do you build a franchise around RJ? You do not, but maybe you build around 4 first-round picks. I'm not sure. Maybe they feel that way. Yeah, RJ, not a desirable contract. So again, it's are the picks enough to get it done? And I'm not sure. If they don't get Scotty, they say no. 95 Yada says, if they ask for Scotty, we say no. I personally don't see it happening. And I think that's the way I'll have to end this kind of segment. Unless it's Scotty, the Bucks say no. If it is Scotty, the Raptors say no. Fun to dream, but I don't think this one is going to end up happening. San Antonio Spurs offer as well be pretty good. There are some good offers out there, I'm sure. There's good offers out there for other team. Maybe we could go through some of them to kind of see. If the Bucks really go for the full rebuild, then Scotty might be too old at this point. I don't know about that. I think that's a good starting point for him. He's still very young. Maybe we could let's see what other teams could offer for fun. Let's go to the Hawks. Atlanta Hawks. And the Bucks. Let's see. I mean, is it crazy to offer Trae Young? I could see them offering Trae Young. I don't think that's an impossible. I don't think it's impossible for the Bucks to get. They offer Trae Young. They could also offer. I mean, financially, Luke Kennard works, but you kind of want that type of shooter if you're gonna have Giannis on your team. I mean, let's be real. Luke Kennard's not stopping this trade getting done. So it works. Other than Luke Kennard can't be traded till December 15th, which makes sense. Pick wise. Not really a lot of great draft capital, but if they're willing to part with Trae Young, this could get done. And I don't think it's impossible for the Hawks to go, we're fine. We have Dyson Daniels, we have Nickeil Alexander-Walker, we have Jalen Johnson, we now have Giannis, and we have Okongwu or Porzingis. I think this is feasible. I think it's feasible. I think they would also want Jalen Johnson. Jalen Johnson's very good. But what if you keep Trae and you go Jalen Johnson? Is that do the Hawks just say absolutely not to that? We have to cut 2.6 from the Hawks, which, let's be honest, we can do or actually it's not as easy to do, but they can make that work. That's a good start. I feel like Jalen Johnson would be a very interesting. You know what? I think the Hawks might be actually willing to do this because it's such an upgrade. I think Jalen Johnson's so good though, so maybe not. All right, Hawks have an offer. Let's try the Knicks. Where do the Knicks go? So Bridges. Bridges, for sure. Where is the money going to come from? Because I need another 30 mil here. Maybe it's not as easy for the Knicks. Because how do you get another 30 million into this trade? Like, if you did Bridges and Hart, which I don't even think the Knicks would want to do, you still have to cut. Oh, we didn't add Giannis again. Let's add Giannis. There we go. Now, let's see the finances. We still have to cut it by 9.7. And on the Knicks, that'd be like Mitchell Robinson. That'd be kind of tough. The Knicks maybe aren't as obvious. No. The Knicks aren't as obvious. I guess they could trade Towns. But, I mean, do they just trade Towns? Upgrade Towns for Giannis? Towns and picks? Get both? Send his brother with him? Something like that. I don't know. Maybe. It probably starts with Cat. I could see them doing that as well. All right, last one, then we'll move on. Let's try the Spurs. So, we'll send Giannis the other way to start. Probably not opposed to trading Devin Vassell. They've got Castle. They've got Harper. Probably not opposed to trading De'Aaron Fox. I know he's recently signed, but not opposed there. I could see them trading Vassell. That's not a bad base to build out from. Could even be like De'Aaron Fox and like Keldon Johnson. I would do that instead. And that works, other than De'Aaron Fox can't be traded. Oh, he can't be traded till February, though. Ooh, I thought it'd be the 15th. Okay, so maybe that doesn't work as well until, like, trade deadline time, which they could wait until then, but what if we did Vassell and Cal? I don't even think that's enticing. Yeah, they could do it. I think the offer would have to be with Fox, and then I think the Bucks are interested. If they could get, like, a Fox and Vassell or Johnson, I think there's something there for the Bucks to consider. Okay, I mean, I'm not watching these teams as much, so I don't know how desirable or undesirable it is for these teams to make those trades, but there's better offers out there probably than what the Raptors can offer, unfortunately. I think that's what we take away from it. And as Grogan says in chat, you have to factor in how much will this trade hurt you on top of it. For the Spurs, I think they're okay without Fox. Like, they've got cover there. They've got Harper. They've got Castle. For the Knicks, like, just straight swap Cat with Giannis. You have Mitchell Robinson, hopefully back for the playoffs. Or, like, hopefully he's healthy in the playoffs. Yeah, Castle and Harper untouchable. That's what I'm saying. They play for the Spurs. So you can trade Fox because you have Castle and Harper there to cover that when he gets traded. That's what I meant. So you're okay to trade Fox because you have the cover for him. So they'd maybe more inclined to make that sort of trade. Interesting one, though, nonetheless. Okay. We will move on to the Colin Murray Boyles, revisit the draft. I charge my phone because I'm leaving soon after this. My phone, I'm caught lacking here. I'm at 6%. So give me 1 sec. I'm gonna grab my phone charger. It's just behind me here in this other room. When I come back, we will revisit the Raptors' decision to pass on Common Malawach to get Colin Murray Boyles with the right choice by the team. And if you are that's weird. If you are enjoying the stream so far, please make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you are enjoying. Makes a difference when you hit the like button. Phoenix says, I vomited looking at Ingram's efficiency, discussing shot diet, and why the heck has he been so turnover prone? Turnovers are bad. I think those are just some bad plays, to be honest. The shot diet, it's more concerning that's the way he plays. He shoots mid-range shots. He's very good at it. His mid-range numbers have been very good this season. As of late, it feels like there's been more clutch games where they are just forcing the offense through Ingram. It's not like kind of a calculated type of play to get there. It's just get the ball to Ingram and pray. And earlier on in the season, it didn't feel like that was how they were playing. They were moving the ball, still kind of sticking to their offensive principles in those settings. Lately, it has been just give the ball to Ingram. So like that game against Charlotte, he started 10 of 17, then missed 8 shots in a row to end the game. Because they were just forcing offense through him. They were sending doubles his way, the Hornets, and he was gassed, couldn't get anything going there. Okay. Let's dig into it here. Why did the Raptors select to play Yak both times on these back-to-backs and not rest him against Hornets to play the better team, Knicks and Lakers? Maybe they feel like take care of the worst team? I don't know. I probably would have gone with Yak. I mean, we lost to the Hornets last time with him, but I probably would have gone for Yak in the tougher games as well. Would have done that as well. Okay, let's talk about the draft. I've been teasing it a while. Let's discuss it. So, it has become very apparent this season that and the past season since we acquired Poeltl back from the Spurs, it's been very apparent the Raptors miss Poeltl when he's out. It's very apparent the Raptors don't have a suitable backup center who can protect the rim. And it was very apparent the Raptors had seemingly a very good chance to get that type of player at the 2025 NBA draft with Colin Malawach out of Duke. Instead, with the 9th overall pick, they elected to go for Colin Murray Boyles. And now, here we are with the Raptors. We are 23 games into the season. Still very early on in their careers, but after this short amount of time to the rookie seasons, let's assess if it feels like this was the right decision by the Raptors. Like I said, 9th overall pick, to the surprise of a lot of people, Colin Murray Boyles out of South Carolina was selected by the Raptors. We were kind of going into the draft as Raptors fans, myself included, hoping Malawach would just be available at 9 to give us the chance to take him, and it felt like a Masai Ujiri team was going to take this type of player. It felt like that they were going to go in that direction, especially a team that needed that type of player. They needed a backup center. They needed a player like this. This was the perfect opportunity for the Raptors to go and get that type of player. But instead, they go with Colin Murray Boyles. And there were a lot of Raptors fans who were pissed off that they went in that direction. It was like an upheaval for some people. For myself, Bobby Webster communicated after the draft. He said, we felt like Colin Murray Boyles was the best player available. That's the player we took. Maybe not the perfect fit or the best fit for the Raptors, but they believe this was the best player available. And they believe that their development team can get the most out of these types of players. Long, switchable players who show a lot of promise defensively. They want to work with them on the offensive end of the ball. So that's what they're attempting to do with Colin Murray Boyles. And truthfully, Colin Murray Boyles has played really well this season, especially relative to expectations. He's been impressive. He's averaging 7.4 points per game, 3.3 rebounds, 1.3 assists. He's shooting 55% from the field. To our big surprise, we thought his threes were going to struggle, and this is only a small sample size, but he's taken 1.3 attempts from three a game, and he's shooting 46% from three right now. So a little bit of surprise there for sure, but pretty clear, like, he's worked on his three ball, and it's improving, and it looks like he might be, like, fine for the NBA level. But I think what's most impressive to me about Colin Murray Boyles, as much as the defense is great, He's looked good on offense. The three ball is coming along. The most impressive thing for me about Colin Murray-Boyles, and I think this is what teams are starting to just care about more and more in the draft, is just the fact, like, this is just a high IQ player. Just feels like Colin Murray-Boyles is so consistently making the right read, making the right play, making the right decision to help out the team. Not worrying about his own numbers, his own game. He's worried about just making the team better, and it just feels like so consistently he's making the right read. And that doesn't seem super common for a rookie. I felt like this was a player that was going to need a little bit more time to adjust to the NBA, a player that was going to need a little bit more time to get settled into the physicality of the league, the speed of the league. Maybe this was going to be a player that needed a bit of time in the G League just to kind of sharpen up a little bit, like we saw briefly last year with Jacoby Walter, which helped him out. But more so like Grady Dick, his rookie season, he spent quite a bit of time in the G League kind of sorting his game out. And then he came back up to the NBA and has been a contributor for the Raptors ever since. Murray-Boyles hasn't really needed that. Since day one, he has firmly been in the rotation for the Raptors. And it doesn't look like that's going to change maybe for a while. Like, this is just a super talented player. And the Raptors seemingly got a good one at the draft with the 9th overall pick. Now, as much as Murray-Boyles has played well, he's doing well for the team. Was it worth it to take him over Common Malawach? Well, if the early indications suggest anything, Malawach has not made an impact for the Suns. I'll concede. The Suns have been much better than expected this season. I thought this was like a Frankenstein's monster type of team. It's filled with players who are decent, but are really good at complementing stars, except the Suns don't really have any stars. But to their credit, I thought they'd be awful, but they're 13-9. They've done okay to start this season. It's still a long way to go, but they're 13-9 to start the season. Like, that's not so bad. That's absolutely not so bad. But Malawach still has struggled to make an impact there. He's played in 10 games this season. He's averaged 1.3 points. He's only shooting 37.5% from the field. A lot of the minutes that are coming for him are in garbage time. And since he's come to the NBA, he's had a couple of stints now in the G League where he's put up some like good numbers, but he's had a couple of stints in the G League already in this season. So still struggling to break through in the NBA. Now, I am definitely not going to count a player out 20 games essentially, or for his case, I guess 10 games into the career. I'm absolutely not going to count a player out 10 games into their rookie season, 20 games for the team into the player's rookie season, especially a big, and especially, even more especially, a big who doesn't have a super polished game. So I am absolutely not going to count Common Malawach out at all. But the early indications are, not trying to like we don't really need to compare. The early indications are Colin Murray-Boyles was a great pick. And he's a good player that is helping the Raptors now and could potentially help them even more going forward as he continues to develop. And he's already showcased a lot of signs of development. We don't know what Common Malawach is going to become. Maybe we'll look back and say, damn, that would have been nice. And I think it's even more exhausted at that point just because, like, it's very obvious the Raptors don't have a backup center. Maybe Malawach could have provided that to the team. But for me, again, the Raptors, like we always say it, like every time Raptors top pick, people always say draft for talent over fit. But then when the Raptors actually do draft talent over fit, people go, whoa, we needed this position. We needed to sort this out. We didn't need another forward. Good players find ways to get in rotation. Good players find ways to get minutes. The Raptors, yes, obviously still need a backup center, need to address that position. But the draft is about amassing talent, especially for a team like Toronto that struggles to attract free agents. Amass the talent, worry about getting the positional needs later. Just later hasn't come quite yet for the Raptors. And it needs to come. And they need to figure out that position. But the draft is for amassing talent and finding the best player available. The Raptors have seemingly done a good job in doing that and evaluating talent with Colin Murray-Boyles. Very excited to see where the development goes. Still need to find another way to get a backup center. But as of right now, very, very early. Nowhere near enough of a sample to make a certified take here. But as of right now, the indication is Raptors so far have got this one right. It's looking pretty good it's looking pretty good from the Colin Murray Bulls standpoint at this point. Absolutely. Okay. Happy Friday to the North Fish. Happy Friday to everyone. All right. I know it's a few minutes early, but that's what I wanted to cover today. Send in your final questions, thoughts, anything, and I'm going to wrap this one up shortly. As a reminder, I'm not going to be able to go live tonight for the Raptors game. I have a couple of friends' birthdays I'm celebrating in town tonight, so I got pre-existing plans here. So I won't be able to come through for the Hornets game tonight. Hopefully the Raptors can get a win in my absence. The next time you'll see me is Sunday, late afternoon. I think it's a 3:30 game where the Raptors are playing against the Boston Celtics. You know I love a Boston game, so should be a fun one. But that'll do it. That'll do it for the stream today. Thank you for coming through, hanging out with me. I'm sorry for the sporadic content over the last 2 weeks, including tonight for the watch-along. Should be getting back on track. Should be getting back on track with the content game starting on Sunday. So hope you all have a great rest of your night. Hopefully the Raptors can win for us. Hopefully you all have a fantastic weekend. I will